Pleasant good evening, good night. Welcome to the Wednesday's episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Welcome, one and all. Welcome to this Wednesday, the final program before Christmas. Christmas Day is Monday. Monday the 25th is Christmas. So here we are to bring you the valuable, credible information on this program Wednesday, the 20th of December in the year 2023. Welcome, one and all. And again, so many persons were here in the schoolyard from very early. And when we went live a few minutes ago, people just rushing in. The ones who were here early are the ones on YouTube. When we went live, those on Facebook joined. We scheduled the program a little late this morning. We had some issues, some mix-up in communication, and therefore it was scheduled a little late. And people were calling to find out. People called me. They called Mr. Conway to find out what is happening to the program today. They didn't see the program schedule, and they were trying to join. So apologies to all for the late schedule of the program. As I said, it was due to some mix-up in communication, and we got that sorted out, and we scheduled the program about 9 o'clock or just after 9 o'clock this morning, and immediately people started to rush into the schoolyard. And so we very much appreciate your presence. And it is noted that notwithstanding the fact that we're just a few days before Christmas, so many persons have taken the time to be in the class. I suspect it's because of the valuable information that we provide, the teaching that we provide to the students in the class. So yes, welcome one, welcome all. This is the day that the Lord has made. We should rejoice and be glad in it. Many persons have not been this fortunate to be in the land of the living. So we always, as I usually say, as soon as we open our eyes every day, we have to give thanks and praise to the Almighty for allowing us to see the new day. So we have so many students in the classroom. Again, I say I'm surprised because a few days before Christmas, you have lots and lots of things to do. I myself, I have been running around trying to get things sorted out. You don't want to wait until the last minute. But having said that, a man who grew up in the country like me would tell you, the tradition back in the day, you have to get some last minute stuff. You can't get everything out too early. Christmas Eve day, Christmas Eve night, you have to have a few things to final things to get. I remember back in the day, Christmas Eve night, you putting up your blinds, you have to nail nails or screws in the wall to hang your curtains, and you could hear the banging all over the place. That was part of the Christmas Eve and Christmas Day excitement. You finish early Christmas morning. So that thing is still in me. You have to go out on Christmas Eve day, walk the mall if you're in the US or elsewhere. In Georgetown, you got to go down the streets, Regent Street. Years ago, used to be where the cenotaph used to have big party, Christmas Eve party by the cenotaph. I remember when I was Commander A Division, Christmas Eve party, big, thousands and thousands of persons there that night. And then what happened? Police friend came to save us, because the bad thing or the good thing, when how you look at it, depends on what perspective you look at it from. Police have to work on that night. Police have to work. Get your family to take care of too. You got to work. So the police friend that I'm referring to, Carlton, Main Street line, man, that big thing there in Main Street, all the way by the cenotaph, all the way by Munishwar there, and the bands playing, and it was a joyful time. Police friend, about 10 o'clock the night, 10, 11, because that used to go until, as we would say, the wee hours of the morning. And then police friend, man. Police friend, you know who is police friend? One of the policemen here know that what is police friend in that context. Police friend. Rain, man, rain. Exactly, Maureen, rain. And not ordinary rain, torrential downpour, police friend. They would say spoil the sport. The revelers will tell you that the police, the rain will spoil the sport, but not to the police. Rain don't spoil sport in those situations for the police. Police glad, because the rain will chase them off the road. And if not all, because you can always have those diehard revelers who can remain, but most of them will go their way, and therefore the police will get an ease at that activity. Yeah, police friend, I would never ever forget that. I in the office there and we waiting. I gotta stay until the parties ended until 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and then that is it. And I remember too. Some people might remember it was 1997 Christmas. If you recall, we had elections just before Christmas in 1997, and we were in line. I was at 2IC in Brickdam. I was in line. We were in line, and I went in Brickdam to Christmas morning to share some greetings with the guys. We sat on the backroom step. I was a senior superintendent then, and the fellas tell me that I can't leave. The ranks they were in the right tune and so on. They said, "Chief, you can't leave because while I was there, food and thing was serving." And I remained with them till after midday or something like that. We sat there, and that is where we all spent our Christmas morning. I, as the deputy commander, Green was the commander at the time, and we sat there, we talked, we chit-chat, and that is how we passed the Christmas morning. I remember too, when I was OC-TSU, we had a Christmas morning breakfast at the TSU for the rank. Schwartz will know that. Leon and the program here, he will remember that because he used to be one of the main chefs, a Carnegie-trained chef, Leon Schwartz. Yeah, he's on the program, 10025. Clarence was my driver. Clarence is reminding me that when I speak about that 1997 Christmas breakfast, he was my driver indeed. I tell you, when we come here, we talk the truthful things, We talk the truthful things, and people are there to support and to corroborate what we are saying. So that is it. So welcome, share the live. I'm going to do the roll call shortly, but I thought it's important for us, in the spirit of Christmas, to wish you all season's greetings and to remind you of some of those things. So I don't know if police friend will intervene on this occasion. I don't know if they still have those activities, but the police have to work. Police, Sean say, police are never off duty. Police are never off duty, really. Even when you are not actually on duty, you are expected to take action if certain things were to happen in your presence. Yeah. Leon said those were the good old days. Good old days indeed. We had wonderful time. Wonderful time. Yeah, so let me move on. As I said, my colleague is already in the studio. He's ready and raring to go. Again, I want to extend Christmas greetings, season's greetings to one and all, and to implore you as you go about your duty, go about your business, go out your shopping, whatever you have to do during the next few days, please be careful. Please be careful. I will report later about fatal accidents. Only last night again, my Lord, 2 women were killed on the roads. Last night, I'm talking about Tuesday night in Guyana. When will it end? I continue to ask. But in terms of the roll call, let me run it. And we are going to be with you to give you some very important information, very important development in certain cases. When we went live, as I told you this morning, we were a little late. And my apologies for scheduling the program late this morning. When we did so, the first person on was Earl, and then Earl came on at 9:37. That was the first person on, followed by Trotty. Derek came on. Kerry was there. Sean was there early, always here on the program. John was here. Then we had Princess Earl from Lamar Springs. Kenneth DeFlorman, he's from Maryland. He's watching from Maryland. I want to know where you people are watching from. Let us know. Hit us up and let us know where you're watching from. The old police or the former policemen. I know the current ones can't put the number. Let me know what your number, what year you joined, what year, how long you served, where you served, and all that. Debbie was here in class at 9:48. Evelina came in. Then Peter, I got it mixed up with your number. Why is it 8252 or 8152? I'm not sure. Clarify for us. Then we have Winston Arthur from the UK is here. Gaston, my squad mate, 9556 Taylor is in class. Followed by a next squad mate, 9414 Carl is here. Then we have Brian Saul, Courtney Saul in class. Everett from Texas is in class. Karen is here. Winston is from California. Setred is here as well. Sandra came in very early. Emerson, Lyndon, Jacko, we can talk a little about cricket in a short while, man. Cecile is here. Como, 8218. Lyndon in class. Aileen, umpire Aileen is in class. Monica Cecile Lawrence is in. I can't recall seeing Lawrence before. Welcome. Perhaps he's here, but he don't comment. So welcome. Ulrich, Tessa, Barlett from Linden. Barlett, you missed class on Monday. You admitted that you missed class on Monday. We did send birthday greetings to you, belated birthday greetings, because we recognize that you celebrated your 50th birthday recently. God bless my brother. John is here. Lucius, Ian is in class, waiting for the credible information. Pauline, Vibert, 1966. Vibert Larson is here. Patricia Gravesande is in class. Wayne from the UK. Wayne Little from the UK is here. Felicia, Evelyn, the one and only Rohan Jahawar is in class. Isabella, regular, is in class. Then we have Denise from Pompano, Florida, Pompano Beach, Florida. Yvonne is here in class. She from BIM. For those of you who don't know, BIM is Barbados, the rock. Doreen, my squad mate, W349 is in class. Orin King, I think it's number 12758, is in class. Leslie is here. Then Doreen came back to express condolences on behalf. We'll talk about that in a short while. Anthony is here. Davey is here. Davey says he's waiting for two great men. One is who he's referring to, the two great men. Then we have BX, very much in class from New Jersey. Magnell, Kayan, 9555 Stevens with Squaddy. So we have 55 Stevens in class, 56 Taylor is in class as well. Of course, I'm 49. I'm here as well. Queenie, West Coast Barbies. Sharon is here. Vibert from East Bank, very much in class. Magnell. Then we have Brennan here. Floyd is in class. And then BX came back to say, he said in his squad mate to raise Sheila, Carl, Frankie, Lois, of course, who were in class. Condolences. We had a squad mate that passed. I'll tell you about that shortly. Clay Rose is here. Then we have Chilo is in class. Terence from Canada is here. Barbara. Dudley B from Jamaica. My friend from Jamaica is in class. John Fraser from Brooklyn. Who else? Speaking Truth to Power is very much here. David Austin. Gene Munn. Jason is here. The original black man is here. Bonita, 16308, former member. Francis Keith is in class. Then we have Orin from the UK is in class. Gordon from Canada, 6659. Desiree is here from Georgia, is in class. Gary is very much here. Trevor Kalinda. Jakey is in class. And the last man on YouTube was John Knights. And then when we went live, we had Dwayne is in class from, he's a Facebooker. First man on Facebook is Dwayne. Then we have Marcia, Stian, Leon, Carlton Popo is in class. Family Music, Shelly Douglas, and many others. Rastaman is here. Charlene is in. We have a Yeson Slow from Trinidad. So yeah. But let me move on, because as I said, we have so many pauses in class. The roll call will end there for now. And let's tell you, as I said, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. Before I bring in my colleague, let me announce, we did announce some time ago the death of Father Gilbert Harris, who was the first chaplain. The latest information is that the funeral is today, Wednesday, the 20th of December, sometime this afternoon at St. George's Cathedral. The service will be at St. George's Cathedral. We know normally they're going to be around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I have to announce the death of a squad mate of mine, former member Everett Lilly, 9431. And I put up the announcement there. Everett died on Monday. You know, while we were on the program, one of my squad mates, Doreen, sent a note, a comment that he passed, but I did not see it. After the program, when I was looking at the comments, I saw it, and then other people sent information to me in respect of it. But as you can see there, he is going to be buried in the U.S., they say Richmond, Virginia, on the 27th of December. That's next Wednesday. He will be buried. I want to, and then On the personal family side, I have the death of a cousin of mine by accident in New York, Queens. Fitzherbert Slow. Those of you people in the country, BV people know, yes, Chicky. We all know just Chicky Slow. Well, Chicky passed away. I think it would have been night before the last. The information I have that he was struck and killed somewhere in Queens. I don't have any more details on that yet. So I want to take this opportunity to express condolences to all the relatives and friends of those persons who have passed. And may the good Lord, may you find peace at this time in particular. It's very difficult to lose a loved one at this time. I experienced that some years ago when I lost my eldest sister on the 22nd day of December. So, yeah, your Christmas get throughout. So I don't think many people can think about Christmas and the holidays any longer. So condolences to the relatives and friends of all those persons. And let me bring in Mr. Conway, and then we're going to do some more the birthday greetings and that. CC, good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you. Happy to be in the land of the living. I endorse the sentiments, the Christmas greetings that you sent out. And I like also to express happy Christmas to all our listeners. I hope that you enjoy it. Do, but don't overdo. And a word to John Knights. I'd expected you to come in from the cold, but perhaps you prefer the cold and the sunshine.
Yeah, see, Sagi saying there in terms of Lily, the Everett Lily, I announced. Yeah, he was, we joined together. Well, let me put it this way. The course was so large, course 74, that we came in two batches. One set came in on the 15th of February, 1974, and the second half came in on the 1st of March, 1974. We spent 6 months, in my case, those who came in for 6 months and 2 weeks in training, and then we were transferred. Lily, I remember well, Everett went to CID headquarters at some stage. I don't know if it's immediately, I can't recall if it's immediately from training school, but he spent some time at CID headquarters. In those days, people will tell you for you to be transferred to CID headquarters, you have to be good. And he did not spend a long time in the force. He went on the cadet officer course, or as they say in the GDF, the officer cadet course, and he became an officer in the Guyana Defense Force before he migrated to the US. And I understand only recently, a few months ago, he was back in Guyana, and then he had some health issues, came back to the States, and as I've said, he died. The report is that he died on Monday. So condolences again to the friends, relatives, family, squad mates. Many of us are on the program here right now on the passing of our former colleague, 9431 Everett Lilly. I know Lewis, his immediate senior 9430, is a regular on the program here as well. And on the happier note, birthday greetings today. I understand that retired Inspector Wilfred Burrows is celebrating a birthday today. And, normally we don't do the pre, but I want to single out my friend, TK. TK Terrence King, 9135 Terrence King will be celebrating his 75th birthday on Saturday. TK, I want to wish you all the best, my brother. Burrows too, Wilfred. I want to wish you all the best on your birth anniversary, going one more time around the sun. Now, let me say this. We can't leave the introduction without talking about cricket. And Ulrich, Aileen, Jakey, Jacko, all the cricket lovers, we taking blows again. We made 222 and can't defend that. Now, the people make 267. Well, I knew from the outset that them runs, they get teeth, as we would say. 267 get teeth. So, there is a final game shortly. Let's see how that will go. Then we also have, for those of you who are watching, yesterday, we had the game with South Africa and India. Oh, I enjoyed that game. I enjoyed that century. And even though they won there, I don't know where he came from, but that South African opening batsman came and he made a wonderful century to level the series at 1-1. And also yesterday, we had the IPL auction where persons were bought, right? Mitchell Stark, I think, is a 2 point something million US, followed by his captain. And then we have for leading the West Indian, our boy Alzari Joseph went for 1.2 or 1 something like that million US dollars. US dollars. We had also Powell, our T20 captain, he went for 800 and something US dollars. Sheob got picked up, our own boy Rutherford, our boy Shepard. Well, Shepard was retained. So the list of the West Indian players who are going to be in the IPL 2024 is known. And Zozie, Ron said in South Africa, Tony Zozie is the boy who make the money yesterday. So let's look forward. You have some millionaires right away, millionaire. And a friend of mine said this morning he's surprised at some of the persons who went unsold. I said, well, that is the name of the game. And at this early stage, I'm sure quite a few more will be picked up along the way due to injuries, due to other commitment where people will pull out, and people are going to be picked up. So we bring back in Mr. Conway before we move on. CC, I sure, as a cricket fan, you would have seen where you enjoyed the game, but you're disappointed in West Indies' performance, eh?
Surely, I really disappointed with them. But as you mentioned, 260 something. I don't think they could have sustained it. Our boy from Trinidad try a bit in the first over, but then after then to sustain it was really almost impossible. And then I enjoy South Africa. That was an excellent match. So we hope our next match that we'll do well. Either do or die. Either we win the series or we allow England to take it away.
Yeah. That is how it goes. But as we indicated earlier, all of these T20 matches now are a build up to the World T20, which is going to be played, I think it's from June in the West Indies and in the USA. So let's see how that will go. Now, update on the court. Again, we got to keep you informed. We told you last week that we had the conspiracy to commit fraud. Just to remind you that the magistrate will deliver the ruling on the 27th. That's next Wednesday, scheduled to be 11:30 in the morning, and to alert you from very early that because the court is 11:30, we are going to rearrange the timing for next week, Wednesday. We would not be able to commence at the usual 12 o'clock Guyana time, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, because the court is 11:30 Guyana time on the 27th. What we promise you, we are thinking about, we're going to have the program that day. I have no doubt about that. We are going to have the program so we can bring to you what transpired in court. That is next Wednesday. Now, even before then, tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, I'm in court with the trumped up sexual assault cases. It is for report in Georgetown Magistrate Court. Again, I said report. It means, therefore, that when the time comes, the magistrate is going to ask a report and perhaps set the dates for the trial or the day for the trial to commence. So that is tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. And as I've said before, despite what the things say, on all them slow and running and hiding from nothing. Slow is anxiously awaiting the trial, right? And they say all the time, you do nothing, you fear nothing. I have done nothing and I have nothing to fear, despite all they're trying with. The trumped up conspiracy charge, that trial is virtually ended. It's just to the magistrate now to render a decision. And as CC explained to you on Monday, and we like teach, the magistrate can rule. No case submissions were made by the lawyers. Powerful no case submissions. And in response, all the prosecutors could have said that he relied on the evidence before the court. But I can tell you, the evidence before the court, I don't know if you could call it flimsy. It is almost non-existent in relation to the charge, right? So that's going to be me. So she can rule, uphold the no case submission, in which case the matter finished. She can decide that there's a case for us to answer. And if she decides there's a case for us to answer, then our rights will be put to us. We can remain silent. We can individually go in the witness box and give your story. And for those of you who don't know, once you go in the witness box and you swear and you say what you have to say, then you are subjected to cross-examination by the prosecutor or the prosecution. Or you can go in the witness box. You can choose not to swear. You make a statement, in which case you cannot be cross-examined. Now, a little further for those policemen who are listening, I did prosecutor's course a long time ago. Once you swear in the witness box, if you are called upon to give evidence in your own defense and you swear, then the magistrate or the judge must take what you say into consideration in determining guilt or innocence. If you choose not to swear, as I said, no one can cross-examine you, and the magistrate may take into consideration what you have said. When that is done, you can also call witnesses to support your case. So that is the way that's the stage we are at, where either no case submission or call upon for a defense, and that is next Wednesday. So again, I say we like to teach. We like to teach. And so that is where we are. Let me bring in Mr. Conway to make his comment on that, and then we're going to move into the first substantive matter for today. CC, your comment on the charges?
Well, you said it all, and you sound like a senior counsel. And in addition to us giving, if we decide to give evidence, we can call our witnesses, and they'll have to go through the cross-examination and re-examination if necessary. And then the defense will address the magistrate, saying why the case must go down the drain, and the prosecutor will address and saying why we should be convicted, and then the magistrate will rule one way or the other. And that's in a nutshell it is.
Yeah, you said ISC, but is that, if I sound like ISC, hope you're not a SC MP. Hope you're telling me I sound like a SC MP, right? So yeah. People got to know this.
Remember I said senior counsel, I didn't abbreviate anything.
I noted that, my friend. I noted that. Now let me move on. The first substantive matter we want to deal with this morning is this, to follow up on the Travis case matter, the Travis Chase matter. We did report that Travis Chase reported that he was shot at, or at least his car was shot at. The police, when they did the investigations, they found three, according to the report in the media, they found 3 bullet holes in the car. Travis said, surprisingly, the police at East Penitence police station wanted him to, they had 2 suspects in custody, that is what they told him. And they wanted him to go down there to see if he could identify the person who shot at him. He said he couldn't do that because he never saw these persons. And I made the point on Monday that as police doing investigations, you can't call someone to identify when the person did not indicate that they were in a position to identify the perpetrator. So basic policing 101, a statement is taken from the victim, and the question that is asked of the victim, would you be able to identify this person if seen again? And you will give detail, yeah, we'll be able to identify him by what means, or you're going to say that. That is there taken down. And only then. But if a person indicates during that stage of the investigation that they are unable to identify, or they will be unable to identify the perpetrator or the suspect for whatever reason, then you cannot, or you should not tell anyone about no identification parade. I already said that they cannot identify the person. That is where these cases has go overboard. Because having said that you can identify, the police carry them out and you identify somebody, right away, any lawyer gonna make mincemeat of that. So anyhow, Travis Chase then, according to the release in the media from the police, they did some examination and they get significant matches or some word like that they use with his firearm ballistic records that were in their possession, and spent shells recovered at the scene. So he was invited to take his firearm in, which he did in company with his lawyer. We saw the tape. I'm not going to show it back this week. Where as they enter the police building, the building that houses the forensic or the ballistic section, there is this police with a video recording camera recording Chase and his lawyer, Mr. Nigel Hughes, as they enter the building. And I'm emphasizing building because one of the apologists wrote something in the newspaper to say, well, police can record you in the yard. This is not in the compound. This is in the building. And that flies in the face of the order issued by the Chief Justice in the Tamika Clark case. If you recall, Tamika Clark is a lawyer who Soku arrested because she advised her client to remain silent. They arrested her, and a lawsuit was filed in favor of, Tamika Clark filed a lawsuit. And among the things that the Chief Justice said, and let me I give it somewhere to read, is that the police cannot record persons who are the lawyer and the people who were there. Let me see if I get it. Hold on 1 minute, man. I like to read these things, The Chief Justice ruled that the police cannot record. There it is. The judge, what the Chief Justice said, the judge further ruled that an attorney at law admitted to practice at the bar in Guyana is entitled to consult with his or her client in private without the contents of the consultation being recorded in any way, including by means of audio-visual recording by any law enforcement agency in Guyana or elsewhere. So let's understand. The fact that Travis went to at the request of the police to the lab there, the ballistic section, to have his gun tested. Again, I said I don't see no reason why that should have been, but all right, he went there. He is not a suspect. They admitted that he's not a suspect. But remember, according to the ruling, even if he was a suspect, the court says that you can't record. And you have that being done. And I say this to say that this is not an isolated case. This case where the Chief Justice made an order and the police are openly defiant is not an isolated case. You have the case of Marceline Washington versus the Attorney General. Washington is the person who moved to the court because she's charged. She was the police finance officer charged, and they're preventing her from traveling out of the country. She went to the court, and Justice Singh, Navendra Singh, ruled that the police do not have the authority to prevent anyone. He said there's no law which allows the police to prevent anyone from moving within Guyana or to move out of Guyana. He says so clearly. He went on to say that if the police want someone to be prevented from moving, they have to go to the court and secure an order from the court. That is what the judge ruled, this last year, December. And yet still, as I told you before, on the 2nd of this month, I was leaving Guyana to travel abroad. And the police wanted to know if I get permission to leave and all of that, because something in the system, the same thing they did with David Patterson, the former minister, when he attempted to leave, they prevented him from leaving, claiming that there was something in the system. And I am saying this again, there should be nothing in the system, because from the time that order was made by Justice Singh, all those things in the system should be removed. And the only thing now should be in the system is orders made by the court to prevent persons from leaving. So again, there's a violation. They're defying the court order. And then we have another case. I have them listed here, so I'm going to forget. Then you have the case of the Guyana Postal and Telecommunication Workers. Let me go through this to you. The Guyana Postal and Telecommunication Workers Union, on behalf of former members of the Guyana Telecommunication Corporation. This judgment was delivered in March 2021. And let me read parts of what was said. Let me tell you the order. Let me read the order. I want to get it accurate so you can understand what is going on. This is an order where the state was the respondent. In other words, the people sue the state. So the Attorney General tells us about people who are not paying costs to court and all this stuff. It's a case where the court ruled against the government and they are not paying these workers. And here what the order says. It is declared that the pensions for the former employees of the Guyana Telecommunications Corporation, who are the subject of the Memorandum of Understanding signed by the government of Guyana, the Guyana Telecommunications Corporation, and the Guyana Postal and Telecommunications Workers Union, and whose services were transferred to the Guyana Telephone and Telegraph Company Limited, be calculated pursuant to Section 8 of the Pensions Act, Chapter 2702 of the Laws of Guyana. And it is further ordered and directed that the defendant, there's the government, the defendant, to pay retroactively to all retired former employees of the Guyana Telecommunications Corporations whose services were transferred to the Guyana Telephone and Telegraph Company their pensions pursuant to Section 8 of the Pension Act 2702 of the Laws of Guyana. It is further ordered and directed that the defendant pay to all former employees of the Ghana Telecommunications Corporations whose services were transferred to the Ghana Telephone and Telegraph Company their pensions pursuant to Section 8 of the Pension Act 2072 of the laws of Ghana upon their retirement. It goes on to say too, more orders, it is further ordered and declared that the pension earned by the former employees of Ghana Telecommunications Corporation among to property pursuant to the provisions of Article 142(1) of the Constitution of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. And the last order says here, somebody saying no song? Let me pause. Somebody saying no song. Orin saying no song. Are you hearing me? Corin, you better check your system because no one else is complaining. Orin is just saying no song. Calling me DJ no song. You used to get some people call DJ no song, you know. Let me bring in CC. CC, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Loud and clear. So, all right. So, Orin, please. Orin, check your system, right? You said yes, sir. Okay. And the final order here says, it is further ordered and declared that the withholding of the payment of pensions for the defendant's former employee of the then Telecommunications Corporation, who are subject to a memorandum of understanding signed by the government of Ghana and the Ghana Telecommunications Corporations and the Ghana Postal and Telecommunications Worker Union, is a violation and contravention of the pensioners' fundamental rights and freedom to pension granted under Article 149B of the Constitution of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. And it is further ordered and awarded the claimant in the sum of cost, 200,000 Guyana dollars. This is an order made, as I said, since March 2021, made against the government, and they're not paying. So again, they are violating the order thing. So you have the order from the Chief Justice in the Tamika Clark case. In other words, they're not bothering with that. You have the order from Justice Singh in the Marceline Washington case. Now you have this order from I think it's Justice Cotias in this this people from the telecommunication cooperation case, not being paid 2 years and running. And we're not finished there. We're not finished there. We have another case where a former police officer, let me just remember his name, Courtney Ramsey. Courtney Ramsey took the Police Service Commission, and that's the commission before he became chairman, to court. Because, why? Courtney Ramsey was recommended for promotion. We know that. He was recommended to be promoted to assistant commissioner. And we are aware, I am aware, that the Police Service Commission approved the promotion. But when the list, before it was announced, went to certain places in Brigdam, or a certain place in Brigdam, and a certain place in Robb Street, Ramsey's name was taken off, and another man's name was put on. So the knockout Ramsey put the next one. Ramsey took them to court. Ramsey took, it's the Police Service Commission. I know this because when I was a Police Service Commission, the Attorney General Chambers interacted with me on this matter. And I had to tell them that I see no reason why the man wasn't promoted. He took them to court. The argument in court, the documents are there. Ask Jai Gobind Jai Singh, your man has leaked confidential information. They argued, that is a Police Service Commission before me, argued, along with the Attorney General's Chambers, that the reason why Ramsey wasn't promoted is because Ramsey was close to retirement. That is what they argued. He was close to retirement. Ramsey was able to produce evidence that 2 former senior officers who held the rank of senior superintendent were promoted to assistant commissioner while they were on pre-retirement leave. In other words, the argument that they made couldn't go anyplace. Faced with those facts, the Attorney General's Chamber chucked in. They did not pursue the matter any longer. They gave up. And notwithstanding the fact that they gave up to now, when last I checked, Ramsey has not been paid. When the matter went to the police, the one who sits there at admin make all sort of comment. I understand that he was told to make sure that the process is done for the man to get the money, and they're dragging their feet. I don't know if Ramsey has gotten paid as yet. But one of the good things that I said to Ramsey some time ago, the court did order, I understand, that any delay will attract interest. So the longer they take to pay him, is more and more interest he is going to get. And I think it's compounded interest. So you have that. And then the defiance doesn't end there. Before I bring in CC, the defiance doesn't end there. There's a matter, or there are matters. There are many court orders. Many orders. Where, or let me put it this way, let me change them. Say there are many violations by the Commissioner of Police, the extended squatter, where persons are dismissed. Persons are dismissed under section 34(1) of the Police Act without any due process. And let me read what the act says. Again, teaching. Let me read. I have to tell you what the act says. Let me read you what the act says. The police discipline, not discipline, sorry. The Police Act, Chapter 61, Section 34(1), says the Commissioner of Police may at any time discharge any subordinate officer or constable from the force on the grounds that, having regards to the conditions of the force, the usefulness of the officer, of the subordinate officer or constable thereto, and any other relevant circumstance, such discharge is desirable in the public interest. We used to call that the public interest discharge. All right. That is the letter of the Section 34(1). Now, this has been challenged in court for a number of years repeatedly. I remember back in the day, Assistant Commissioner Cyril Bollers challenged and won. The court ruled that you cannot dismiss anybody as a commissioner, you're the Police Service Commission. There is something called due process. You have to go through that. The people have a right to be heard, natural justice. Right? They say that. Now, notwithstanding that, we have had cases in recent times where they, let me tell you some of the cases. The case in the Quindon Bacchus murder on the East Coast. The commissioner arbitrarily dismissed Sergeant Damon McClellan under Section 34(1). Right? As a matter of fact, on the same day, he appeared in court, I think, charged with perverting the course of justice, some fanciful charge. When you see the facts, you will know what I'm talking about. Lance Corporal Christophe de Nagriga, Lance Corporal Thurston Simon, they were involved in some way in that matter, or they were alleged to be involved in some way in that matter. They were dismissed by the extended squatter without regards to the previous court rulings. And not only the Bollers, Cyril Bollers court ruling, Assistant Commissioner Cummins was similarly discharged, went to court said you can't discharge nobody, no public interest. You have to have due process. Senior Superintendent Seeley, same thing, discharge under public interest. And that was way back in the 70s, 80s, you know. These people challenge these things and you have rulings from the court. Even more recently, you have rulings that you cannot. And yes, still the extended squatter has been doing that. You have 3 men from Board B's, these 3 constables. And the constables, Shaquille Smith and Tariq McCammon, in April this year, discharged. They were the people in Bobby's with what the officer lost his gun, and the constables are dismissed. The third one, Donovan Walker, dismissed in May. So you have the man sitting there in the seat of the Commissioner of Police, the extended squatters, we call it, violating the Constitution. And let me tell you this thing about, as we say, there's something called presumption of innocence guaranteed under Article 144(2) of the Constitution of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. When there's a case, let me tell them, when on the 24th of March this year, Justice Gino Prasad ruled in the case of Paul Slow versus Secretary of the Police Service Commission, Commissioner of Police, Prime Minister, the Attorney General. That's the matter where I took them to court over the suspension of me and the other members of the Police Service Commission. Justice Gino Prasad, in part of his ruling, said this. So let me read it to them. On the issue of criminal charge, lest we forget, in this republic, there is an enshrined principle backed by constitutional muster to which every citizen of this country is afforded, and that is the right to the presumption of innocence as set out in Article 144(2) of the Constitution. Mr. Slow has not been convicted of any charge. At the time he was suspended, he was entitled to that presumption. The mere institution of charges cannot amount to misbehavior proper, except and until the person has been adjudicated or adjudged as guilty by a competent tribunal. Therefore, To act in reliance of charges cannot be a basis to justify the president's unconstitutional conduct. It's the same thing applied to the extended squatter. This ruling is relevant because, as they say, the mere institution of charge, as in the case of the McLennan and all these people, cannot be used to say that you are dismissing or discharging, whatever term you want to use. You cannot be used. The courts have said so repeatedly. This is one of the recent cases that I refer to. But they're doing that. So when Travis Chase and his attorney turned up in the ballistic section and the recording in defiance of the court order, as I've said, it was not an isolated incident. It continues to happen. Even the government, in the case of the telecommunication workers people, they get judgment in their favor. And 2 years, almost 3 years now, they can't get the money. They cannot be paid by the government. So what you expect is lawlessness right through. Lawlessness right through. Let me bring in Mr. Conway at this stage to make his comment. CC, let me hear you on this matter, please.
Yeah, let me just go back to Travis before I move on to something else. Now, you mentioned about identification of persons. It's basic. During the investigation, you ask the person, can you identify the suspect? He might say, no, I cannot. If you say yes, he will tell you by what means he could identify the person. And there are cases where some of the witnesses might be afraid to identify persons, face to face. That's why during when we had the citizen security program at CID headquarters and at several other police locations, we had what you call two-way mirrors. I don't know if they're still in existence, where the witness could see the suspect, but the suspect can't see the witness, and they're able to identify them through the two-way system. I don't know if it's still working. But coming back to the Chief Justice ruling, the Chief Justice made it elusive that there must be training sessions for all members of the force, including constables right up to officers, and including senior officers, including the commissioner and all. And lo and behold, in the traffic chase case, where attorney of law asks the constable, and the thing is, when you watch the constable at CID headquarters, if you see how he was dressed, if you see just deplorable, I don't know if they don't have any dress code at CID headquarters. If you see how this guy was dressed with slippers and all kind of thing, the socks showing and everything. Now, the constable is saying that he doesn't know about the Chief Justice order, while the officer there does not know about the Chief Justice, the order of the Chief Justice. And since the order of the Chief Justice, not a single training program has been done by the police. Not one has been done by the police. And I want to give them some advice, Normally, what's going on now is that they what you call chalk and talk. I want to tell them, hey, have a proper, well-structured program. And I'm giving them some advice. A program that you have objectives. A program that you have proper course contents that will link into the objectives and the methodology. Apart from chalking and talk and talk, there are certain things they can have. Lectures, question and answer sessions, discussions, video conferencing, demonstration, hands-on learning, role play, case studies, simulations, and a combination. And in terms of their instructional materials, they can have printed information, visual, bullet boards, audio, video, television programs, computer programs, distance learning, and other options. But what they should do too, what they're not doing is that they're not doing training evaluation. After the classroom sessions, you have to follow up. You have to do evaluation to see whether or not you have achieved your objectives, whether or not you are winning or losing the game. And a good thing to look at is what we call Kirkpatrick's model of evaluation. It talks about reaction, it talks about learning, it talks about behavior, and it talks about results. And the reaction is that you look at the participant's perception of the training. In terms of learning, you look for see whether there is knowledge and skills acquired during the training. You can do so by test. Behavior, whether or not the knowledge and skills is applied on the job. when you observe them after they return from training, did they put their knowledge and skills that they learn on the job? And also results where you focus on the return of investment, you look at cost savings, you look at increased work input or output, or the quality of work after the training. Was it a benefit to the individual? Was it benefit to the supervisors? Was it benefit to the organization as a whole? You know, the training has got to be done. And I don't want to hear to say we did X training and we did Y training. They're gonna be bluffing. But I'm saying do a structured program and do evaluation after you have done that training. In other words, so that you're going back to square one. Because remember they say that they've been training for a long time now, For a long time they've been in training, but is it effective? Are they getting the results? And you can't know if you're getting results unless you do evaluation. And Kirkpatrick model of implementation is very, very instructive.
Well, yeah, because you say that when the Chief Justice made those orders, basically I told the Chief Justice, well, we're doing this all the time, but as you say that we should make a public commitment, we can make the public commitment. But that's what they said. That is in effect what they said. And let me tell you about evaluation. As a person who went through method of instruction courses, several, evaluation can be done immediately following a lecture. And I remember an experience I had as a young sergeant. Those of you older policemen remember when I was a young sergeant, I was in charge of training junior officers at the TSU. They had the junior officers training program every Saturday. They had the half-yearly drill program, and the officers will come to TSU to be trained in various aspects of foot drills and drill weapon training. I was responsible for that. One Saturday morning, there was this officer who shall remain nameless, who for some reason, he had a problem with me because I became a sergeant at the age of 21. And he felt that perhaps I was too young to be a sergeant. So when I was there lecturing that morning on the Sterling submachine gun, as I was going through, as per textbook, I was going through, he was interrupting, and he was asking all type of questions. He interrupted me. I ain't bothered with it. I was not going to be distracted. I kept and I stuck to the lesson. Now, they taught us, if you did methods of instruction, if you have a 1 hour class, you don't lecture to the entire 1 hour. Perhaps you lecture for 45, 50 minutes, and then you leave the 15 or 10 minutes to get a feedback from the class. So I decided to get a feedback, and I said to them, I was asked, are there any questions? They asked a few, and then eventually you get to the stage where there were no further questions. And then I said, seeing that you have no further questions, in order to ensure that the lesson has been assimilated, I will ask a few questions. And then I went on to say, because this is what we were taught, and this is the form it will take. I will ask the question, I will pause, and then I will point to the officer who I want to answer the question. That is the way it is done. People who do instructions, you don't ask Conway, what is this? Because if you say, for instance, you say, Conway, who is this? It's only Conway is turned on. But if you ask a question and the class, the people in the class don't know who you are going to call to answer, then everyone is turned on. So I decided to get wicked. Say, I'm going to ask a few questions, I'm going to pause, and then I'm going to ask a question, I'm going to pause, and then I'm going to indicate the officer to answer the question. I asked a very simple question, and I remember the late Roy Paris was there. I said, Mr. Paris answered the question. I asked another simple question, Mr. Dick Best answered the question. Another simple question, I point to another officer, he answered. And this officer was giving me a rough time. I asked the most difficult question, and then I pointed to him and said for him to answer. And one of the officers there, Mr. Best, I would never ever forget that. Mr. Best said something to him at that time that I can't repeat on this program. This is not them type of program that. But that was immediate evaluation to determine whether the lesson was assimilated. So you have to do that. You have to do that. So I don't know whether these people go through method of instruction courses and all of that. But to hear CC talking about chalk and talking these days, very, very disappointing. I remember when I went to the police staff college in 1994, Bramshill, UK. When you have to do a presentation, they put you in the room with the computer. They put you in the room with the visual aids, because the chief instructor, Jim Carswell, will tell you no chalk and talk. You have to prepare slides and you have to do all of these things. And to see me on the computer in them days, 1994, is look and joke. You look and you joke, pop, 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 to get something going. When you went into the visual aids room, they give you a half an hour session on how to use the machinery and thing there to prepare your transparencies and so on. That is it since 1994. So to hear people now still talking about chalk and talk, unless they're dealing with OLEGs, it is very, very disappointing. CC, anything more on this subject?
Yeah, just to conform with what you said, when you're testing to see whether the lesson has been assimilated, I might sound a bit political, but I'm not. I talk about PPPC, that you pose the question, you pause, you punks, and then you conform or you conclude. You pose, you pause, you punks, and you conform or you conclude.
Can't stop CC with these things, man. Can't stop CC. That's why I love my brother, man. That is right. Yeah, let me move on. I see Winston is saying here that my cousin Fitzgerald Fitzherbert Slowjai was a schoolmate at Cummins Secondary, member of Sea House, and along with Ivan Daniels, was an outstanding athlete. Ivan is on this program from time to time, Winston. Ivan, former detective, 9731, I think was his number. Yeah. Chicky, and if you recall, Winston, I'm sure Chicky was a good distance runner. He was a good distance runner as well. Yeah, that is a big cousin of mine. Moving on. We can't stop talking about this carnage on the road. On Monday, we talk about it. Between Monday and now, we have had other fatalities. Up to last night, they're reporting two. Over the past week or so, let me repeat again. We had the 4 on the East Bank, just over a week or so. 4 on the East Bank in the minibus, where the driver was overtaking, struck some car, lost control, the bus turned over, the driver and 3 others died. I think there were other people in hospital. Hope they have recovered. Then we had the death of the cricketer, former West Indies and Guyana cricketer Clive Butts. Accident again. Then we had the 2 men on the motorcycle on the East Bank, where they claimed they were bandits. It turned out that people were not bandits. They borrowed a motorcycle, and they were going. They were struck, or they struck a truck, or the truck struck them. The 2 men died. We have Sahid Ahmed, businessman, on the quarantine, buried yesterday, I think it was. Yeah? Died on the road. That is at Molson Creek. The story is that he was test driving a pickup that he intended to buy. He lost control. The thing turned turtle. He ended up in a trench and he died. Then we have last week too, Linden Suzak Highway reported. We missed that one on Monday, where a speeding car struck and killed someone there on the Linden Suzak Highway. And since Monday when we reported, we have again here reporting now a truck at Bokal topples and killed the driver. I think they said Ministry of Labor is investigating that. We also have construction worker died on Montrose accident. That is Monday night. And this is a terrible one. Like all of these things are terrible. According to the report, this vehicle belonging to the NIS, that is the National Insurance Scheme, proceeding east along the East Coast Road at Montrose there. On the East Coast is an area I know very well. And they're claiming he negotiated some turn, but I don't know which turn is in the Montrose area. I don't recollect that there's any turn. It's a fairly straight road. He lost control. The vehicle went over the divide into the other northern carriageway, struck a construction worker and killed him, dragged him some distance, struck another car. They claimed that when it was tested, this driver of the NIS vehicle, he was above the legal limit. And there's another mistake they make when they make these releases. They said what the reading was, 0.61 something, but they did not tell you at the same time what is the legal limit. They did not, but in a subsequent report, I saw that they said, not the police, but the paper said that the man was above the legal limit. He was drunk when that took place. Then you have, only last night I was reading, or early this morning, that a minibus woman killed by a minibus at Leonora. Leonora is West Coast, Demerara in Regional Division 3. Last night, they said she was attempting to cross the road at Leonora and a vehicle struck and killed her. She was rushed to the hospital, let's say Sheriff Hospital, pronounced dead. And this morning, now again, I'm reading that a Essequibo woman killed by speeding minibus, East Bank, Essequibo. This morning, that is being reported. That happened last night. They're reporting that this morning. When will this madness on the road end? And what, in all of this, what is the Minister of Home Affairs? What is the extended squatter? What is the government doing about this? I reported to on Monday that someone wrote to say this new road that they built, he was calling on the police to erect traffic light and to erect speed bumps to prevent persons from speeding, because it's only a matter of time before you have collisions there. Yesterday, the same gentleman reporting that there was an accident right there. And even before that, the very day that he wrote in the paper, accident. Last week, we learned that the president was opening this new road, the Heroes Highway. And the same night, there was an accident. There's a picture of an accident there. What are these people doing? We made the point before, and I'm going to repeat it here for emphasis. This matter is a national crisis and requires intervention by the people who run in the country. And for them to talk about the police doing this and the police, the Taliban have issued this ticket and they're doing that, and that is not sufficient. And I say clearly, this is not a matter for the police alone to deal with. Police can deal with enforcement, yes. But you have cases where a man, some time ago, I reported on this program, a man who is strikes and kill someone in the same region 3, found to be off over the legal limit of alcohol. In other words, he was drunk. Charged for drunk driving. The magistrate fined him $50,000. When the amendment to the Motor Vehicle and Road Traffic Act, the most recent amendment, stipulates that the minimum fine is $200,000. And the man fined $50,000. So I make that point to emphasize that all the agencies have to get involved. Ministry of Education, people asking the police to educate, and every now and again, police go to the schools and they talk to the children, or the police at the minibus park, they spoke to the drivers and they issue flyers. That is not sufficient. You get big billboard with the extended squatter. You get a campaign, you call it Respect the Road. And the initiative from these people is to put up billboards, because I see at least 2, with the extended squatter picture telling people respect the road. Now tell me how that is going to help reduce the carnage on the road. How that, a billboard with the extended squatter who sits in the chair of the Commissioner of Police, how that will address this situation. And it is clear that these people don't have a clue. But before I go on, let me bring in Mr. Conway for him to obviously have something more to say on this matter. Let me bring in CC. CC, what are your views on this continued carnage on the road, my brother? Every day, last night, people dying on the road. Yesterday, people died on the road. And you're not hearing anything. You're not only hearing, but you're not seeing measures being taken to give you the confidence that in the near future, things are going to be better. Let me hear you on this, CC.
I am not seeing any light at the end of the tunnel, Paul. We said in several sessions ago that it must be a holistic approach towards the fighting of this lawlessness on our road. And all they're doing is piecemeal effort. They appointed a new traffic chief. Well, he's not new because several months, I think, has passed since he became traffic chief. The shine has gone off of him. There's no more sheen. I listened to him yesterday on, I think, NCN. And he was talking about congestions and talking about people parking improperly causing congestion. Instead of he talk about the fatalities on the road. and what he's going to do, or what the traffic department or what the police is doing about it. They're talking about but congestion, traffic congestions. We want to hear what is the plan to reduce the madness going on the road. And there are several methods they're going to use. The loaner driver package is suspect because you buy the package, you go online and you do the test. And guess who's doing the test? Zaro, personnel from Zaro. I don't know if it's because Zaro opened a set of computer centers with the police about the place there. The cops in faith used to do it, or perhaps they don't have confidence in the men of God, so they took it away and gave Zaro. And there's no integrity testing for Zaro people. There's no integrity testing. There's no other testing done to see whether or not this thing is properly done. There's no accountability. Perhaps those men or those personnel are angels, and then they're not really. And then if you look at the practical, Paul, I said before, and I've been saying all the time, is that the divisional commanders got to be actively involved. Paul, you did a SOP with saying that when there are practical examinations, a return has to be sent to the commander stating who are the persons who are doing the practical test. And the commander will appoint somebody and he will rotate the persons to ensure that one person isn't there all the time, to be with the certifying officer to ensure that it is properly conducted. I don't think they're doing night driving anymore. And my little observation, observation is that very few people are doing the practical tests, but a large amount are flocking the GRA with competence, and you get competence after you do the practical examination. So the corruption is there. The jaguar is in the room. That the corruption is there, and they're not looking at that. So persons who cannot drive have been granted license, and they go on the road and they became fatal. And unless you do what I call a 3D, data-driven decision in terms of traffic, you must know where the accidents are occurring. You must know about the hot spots. You must know the type of drivers involved. You know the time of the day where the accidents are occurring. You must know whether it's a weekend, whether it's Saturday, Sunday, Monday, whatever the days that they are occurring. The categories of persons involved in the crime. And when you get that data, you use the human and other resources to deal with the situation. And then I don't know what was going on. I look at West Demerara, and they had the award ceremony, and the traffic chief across there was the second runner-up, or the runner-up for the best cop. He got the runner-up prize there, and they said he did excellent work. I don't know what's excellent work, because himself and his commander reported that fatal accident increased by nearly 300% in West Demerara. By nearly 300% in West Demerara. West Demerara is the roadways there are considered as the deadliest roads in Guyana. And here it is, a man who presided over a traffic situation where over 300% fatality, increase in fatality. And they're cocking the figures because a lot of accidents, fatal accidents occur, and they call them incidents. I remember one on the West Bank where a man hit a bridge, ended up in a trench, and they say it's an incident. Another one where a man fell off a e-bicycle, and they say it's an incident. Another one where one was standing there to a car and minibus hit him and kill him, and it's an incident. So the thing is, the traffic officer there who presided over a massive increase of traffic accidents, at time of fatal accidents, and who presided over the roads that are the deadliest in this country, is given an award. So you're awarding for incompetence. Perhaps Dr. Peter must have been smiling in his grave because we're promoting incompetence. The point I want to make is that unless you have a holistic approach, unless all are involved, not only the police, members of the public are involved in the situation, the deadly situation on the road will continue. I'm not seeing no light at the end of the tunnel. And there's the traffic chief talking about congestions when he should really frontally attack the situation that is happening on the road. People are getting their driver's license too easily. People are getting driver's license and then sit down in front of people. No night driving is be done. The corruption is there. You pay a raise and you get your driver's license. And unless we look at those situations, unless we look at the elephant in the room, which is corruption, the situation will increase.
God forbid that the situation gets worse. But let me tell you something. The problem is, as I've said, there is no holistic look at this, no comprehensive look at what is going on. It's just based really window dressing. You're putting band-aid on a festering sore. That is what the problem is. You are if you recall, not so long ago, there was a fatal accident on the quarantine. Well, they got this incident because of the claim that the man drove into some pile of sand. 18-year-old minibus driver, that is what was reported. 18-year-old minibus driver was involved in that accident. And again, as CC said, they're making a distinction between accidents and incidents. They are fooling themselves. People are dying on the roads. Whether you call it accidents or incident, people are dying on the road. In October of this year, the traffic chief reported that there were 171, I think, 171 fatal accidents and incidents. That is what they reported. So by now, there's October, early October. By now, given all of these accidents and incidents that have taken place since then, I'm sure the figure is well over 200. They don't tell you anything about that. Is another secret they have. They don't tell you anything about it. So you don't know how many persons have died on the roads. You read, but I know that some media houses have resorted to keeping their own records because they cannot trust the records given by the police. And let me tell you this. This is what they're saying in respect to what Mr. Conway just said. But before I go to that, the police have consistently stated that the two major factors resulting in fatal accidents are speeding and driving above the influence of alcohol and or drugs. That's what I've said. So to hear the traffic chief talking about congestion and not addressing speeding, which as they say is a major cause of accident, not addressing driving under the influence of drinks or alcohol, alcohol or drugs, they ain't making sense. Only recently, I think it was Sunday, with the accident with the Minister of Agriculture, Zulfikar Mustafa, it was reported that the driver of this vehicle, who was the vehicle overtook into the part of the minister's vehicle, the video showed that the man was really reckless. They said that they checked him and he was below the legal limit for alcohol. I asked the question then, did they check him to see if he's under any influence of anything else? Any other drugs? Because looking at the tape, the behavior is not that of an ordinary person. The man must have been under something, but they're not checking that. They're not checking. And you know, coming back to the West Demerara thing that Mr. Conway reported a while ago, this is in Kaicho News on the 16th of November. The commander there is, well, let's say senior superintendent. He's an assistant commissioner. Sorry, I'm reading for the wrong thing. Region 3. Let me read the next, the right thing. Region 3. Right? Kaicho News on the October the 25th. Region 3 takes the lead in road fatalities across Guyana from January to date. And the date that we're talking about, the 25th of October. Police commander of the district, Mahendra Sunarayan, said during a recent interview with Radio Ivleri, and they're quoting here to say, sad to say, we are at 237% increase in terms of fatalities. For last year, we had 8 fatal accidents. And for this year, we have 27, Sunarayan disclosed. Then he said, while drinking and driving contribute to some of these fatal accidents, most of them, according to the commander, were caused by individuals not paying attention when using the roadway. So you have Massive increase over there. Massive increase. Region number 3. That is West Demerara, East Bank, Esseco. Right? And here, what happened here now, what Mr. Conway was referring to, they had what they call an headline in Stabrook News on December the 8th. Jermaine Grant gets Best Cop Award for Region 3. Let me read a little piece here for you to understand what craziness is going on in this country. It says in the penultimate paragraph, the release said that through his leadership, and they're referring it to Assistant Superintendent Jermaine Grant, who got the Best Cop. They said through his leadership, Assistant Superintendent Grant and ranks from the region's Criminal Investigation Department on this command have presided over a 22.4 decrease in crime, as well as the removal of a number of firearms and a quantity of narcotics off the street throughout the region. So the Best Cop was awarded because they say he was responsible. He led his men to a 22.4% decrease in crimes in Region 3, as well as the recovered firearm and drugs. In the same release, the very next paragraph says, Regional Traffic Officer, Assistant Superintendent Maniram Jagnanan was adjudged as the runner-up Best Cop in Region number 3 for 2023. Jagnanan has been instrumental in spearheading numerous traffic enforcement exercises in the region with positive results. Oh my Lord. These people are saying that you have an increase of 237% in fatalities during this period from 1st of January 2023 to November 2023. And this release, the man get Best Cop, the man in charge. Let me say this, I don't know Grant, I don't know Jagnanan. But I'm going on the report. They're saying that the police regional traffic officer, Assistant Superintendent Maniram Jagnanan, was adjudged as the runner-up Best Cop in Region 3 for 2023. Jagnanan has been instrumental in spearheading numerous traffic enforcement exercises in the region with positive result. What positive result when you get a 237% increase? I would say that unless you can tell me that if he had not done what he did, you might have got a 500% increase. Give me the stats. Give me the stats, but that can't be forthcoming. So a man who is presided in a region with a massive increase in fatalities, this is not only accident, the man is adjudged the divisional runner-up Best Cop, and they say that he has been carrying out exercises with positive results. And that is the problem that we have. People are not being held accountable for the negligence and when things happen. People are not held, so you got the traffic man, exponential increase in deaths, but he's awarded as the divisional runner-up Best Cop. And if you look out, when we're going to talk about that briefly just now, when promotion come this year, at the end of the year that you expect promotions to be made by the Police Service Commission, chances are that this man will get promoted again. And that is part of the problem. People are being rewarded for incompetence. The extended squatting, all what's going on, you might get indefinite extension. You pass the retirement age, the indefinite extension. You have Christian Dat Romana, who arrested the lawyer for advising our client to remain silent. This is the same man who they arrested me for turning up the court. He arrested me for the same matter and they turned up the court. The man got promoted. Because when that happened on the 15th of October 2021, he was an assistant superintendent. The man was there after accelerated the superintendent. Following the incident with Tamika Clark at Soku, the man was moved from Soku and the man was given what is considered a promotion. So the man is now a divisional commander. And that is part of the problem. These people are being awarded or rewarded for incompetence and unprofessional behavior. So the man who took out Travis Chase and his lawyer there the other day, dressed shabbily dressed, disgraceful dressing by rank, I am not going to fat shame him. I'm not going to fat shame him. But the way in which he dressed, slipper with socks and thing and he's there, say he's a constable, chances are when you come here and you turn a corporal or a sergeant, because acceleration is a big thing now. You're jumping around like if you're doing I jump like if you're Carl Lewis, or well, Carl Lewis is not a I jump, a long jumper. That is what we have. So the problem is going to continue, because I suspect that in this system, you have a lot of the ranks who see these things and they are demotivated, because they know that they're working, and here it is a man who ain't doing any work, getting promoted, getting reward. Right? That is the problem. That is part of the problem. CC, what do you say as we close up this issue and we move to the next one?
Well, you touch on promotion, and Paul, remember the Police Service Commission. I have no confidence in the Police Service Commission. I remember last year, the 4th of July, where the Bishop, chairman of the Police Service Commission, on the 4th of July, said that he was awaiting the list of persons recommended for promotion, and on the second 250 something that persons promoted. They even promoted a person, a civilian. They promoted a woman twice. Persons with disciplinary matters. Brutus had disciplinary matter. Karen Bash had disciplinary matter. And several others had disciplinary matters. And they were all promoted, and the disciplinary matters weren't concluded. Persons who didn't pass the promotion exam get promoted. Person move from inspector to superintendent, and had disciplinary matters pending. I don't know what's going to happen. As you mentioned, persons going to be promoted for being incompetent. The Dr. Peter principle will be at work, where you promote incompetence, and that is likely to happen again. So, and then when you're incompetent, Paul, and you try your incompetent best, you are still incompetent.
I agree with you totally. I agree with you totally. And talking about the promotion story, I want to make this point to all the ranks who are listening and all those who are expecting to be promoted. Now, let me say that based on what has happened during the last promotion by the Police Service Commission, no one should tell you now that you have a disciplinary matter pending and therefore you cannot be considered for promotion. As Mr. Conway remarked a little while ago, that seems no longer to be a bar to promotion. The fact that you may have a disciplinary matter pending, because as he pointed out, several persons who were promoted by the Police Service Commission, he called some of them, Brutus, Karimbash, Prem Narayan, Siobhan Jupiter, Stanley, Bacchus, all of those persons had matters pending and they were promoted. In the case of Prem Narayan, he was accelerated from an inspector to a superintendent. He jumped 200 and almost 300 persons, inspectors and assistant superintendents and all of those persons, all the assistant superintendents, all the deputy superintendents, he superseded and was promoted. So no one should now tell you that you cannot be considered for promotion because of pending disciplinary matter. That used to be the standard, I know, because they challenged that in the court and the Chief Justice ruled on that. So let's see what is going to happen. Let us wait and let us see. Now, our next matter, CC, quickly, I see in one of the reports, a Tame businessman injured in shooting. When I read the report, this is a Chinese businessman at Tame, excuse me, Tame on the Quarantine Coast. The man was in the business place there, and some security guard discharged a round. The report suggests he may have done so accidentally. Struck the businessman in his foot. And again, we've been talking about this thing in this over and over. Thankfully, the businessman did not suffer serious injury. But when you have untrained guards and untrained people, civilians and policemen and all of these people walking around with firearms, that is going to happen. Let me understand it clearly. It's only a matter of time for those things to happen. So the businessman gets struck. Some guard, I don't have all the details, but the little that I have suggests that the guard was doing something with the gun. It went off and it struck the businessman. The next thing that I want to talk about, CC, as we come to be moving towards an end, the murders. We have had so many murders in Guyana. It ain't stopping. The blood ain't stop flowing. Blood not stop flowing. We had Sunday morning, the two men killed at Victoria. Up to now, I'm not sure what happened there. But they're saying that apparently one man had a chain. Some people go to rob him. He ended up wounding others. He was wounded, and both two persons died. And the mother of one of the deceased persons is saying that the police went to a resident to inquire from her son because he was a suspect in this in one of the murders, only to discover that he was a victim lying somewhere in a drain dead. The police went to the mother's home looking for him, and they later discovered he was dead. Then we have yesterday reported police probing murdered Golden Fleece, West Coast Barbies. Two men were playing dominoes. They claim some argument. The one stab up the one, dead. Then the one went to the station and he made a report that he was attacked, and the deceased ran into some knife that he had. He's in custody there. Then we have the man, this one too, on the quarantine. A man who was reported missing around Sunday or sometime then, found yesterday in a shallow grave. The story is that he and two of his Bacasa friends, two others, went to catch fish in the back. And there's some confusing report where one report that one named Bharat, I remember the name well, Bharat is alleged to have fired shots at this one of them. The other one jumped on the motorcycle and rode away, even though he had a flat tire. He rode because he didn't want to be injured. And they went to the police and they're complaining because when they went to the police force, the police did not take any proper action. And then later on, they formed a search party. They went there. And during the course of the search, they found this man dead. Dead. That's with wounds about his body. He was in a shallow grave. They claimed that he by some big tree. And then again, you don't forget, we had the schoolboy murder. You're not hearing anything about these things. And then we had the mother, I see it came up again recently, the mother and her son who were killed in Rosal. Police arrest people, release them, rearrest them, release them again. And then the latest report is that this murder investigation is at a standstill. And I'm saying with all of these matters, especially the ones where, because in the one in the shallow grave, they said two persons are in custody. I hope they do proper investigation. And that is the worry. Proper investigations are not done. And at the end of the day, people walk free. That is a big worry. I mean, this one with the mother and her son, that is so disturbing. They arrested persons, including relatives, I think. Right? On what basis these persons were arrested? If you got to arrest persons and then you release them, and then later on you rearrest, and you still have to release. So on what basis were they arrested in the first place? What basis what evidence did you have to go ahead and to make this arrest? And that's one of the problems. Because as we have said, when the police talk about solving crime, they're talking about making arrests. They're not going to the stage about conviction. So you make arrest, and then you send the file to the DPP, and we know what the DPP story is. The DPP does recommend charge when there's absolutely no evidence. I say that again. The DPP recommends for person to be charged when there's absolutely no evidence. The High Court, several judges of the High Court have so declared, have so ruled. They've had to ask the question, why were these people charged in the first place? Why were they charged? And then when they get evidence, like in the Darmlal case, no charge. That is part, the whole system is a corrupt system. The whole system, the judges have pronounced repeatedly on that. Several cases in the High Court, people charged a murder, spend 3-4 years in jail. When they get to trial, no case submission. No case submission. The people are walking on no case submission. And for those of you who are not fully familiar, when you talk about no case submission, it means that when the prosecutor or the prosecution calls all the witnesses that they have to establish this case, and they say, well, that is the case, and the evidence is examined, there is no evidence for the people to even be called upon to lead a defense. No evidence for them to be called upon to lead a defense. And that is the system that is operating. CC, let me get you in for, to make your remarks on this frequent murders and people walking free and all of that. What say you, my brother?
All right, let me backtrack before I jump into it. Where the shooting by the security guard. Question may ask, was he properly trained? Was he a supernumerary? It's only if you're a supernumerary you could carry the security section you could carry firearm. Was he a supernumerary constable? You don't even hear who is the security who with which security they have available there. Now the murders we don't have, and I they can't contradict me. We don't have proper investigators in the division, in all the division that we have. I cannot pinpoint and say this divisional detective officer is an excellent detective officer. Where have all the investigators gone? They're looking at confession statement that the only thing they got, they beat people, terrorize them, and get CS. And then when they go to court, the accused will question the CS. The CS gone out through the window, and out goes the case. There's no connecting evidence. There's no meticulous investigation. There's no dogged investigators like what we used to have. I don't want to call names, but we used to have excellent investigators. And they're arresting people to show that they're doing good work. But arrest is just part of it. They're arresting, but they're not solving any crime. The case goes before the judge or the jury or even the magistrate court, and it's gone overboard. You may mention about the Rose Almato, where they splash the suspect, they call them suspects, and I put suspects in bracket. The photographs and the name all over the social media, and you can't charge anybody. They're quick to say, yeah, we have arrested 4 persons. Even the one in Molson Quick, where the person in the shallow grave, we heard about a shooter, person men about shooter. They arrested 2 persons, but then say whether they arrested the shooter. Perhaps the 2 persons they arrested are persons who went with a man. Well, so if you want to interview them or want to interrogate them, but a shooter was mentioned, and we didn't hear that the shooter was arrested or efforts are being made to the person who they say is the shooter. There's no proper investigations. And I don't know what kind of training they're doing to also. During the citizen security program, where the comprehensive training program that we did, a 1 year comprehensive training program, we had several programs that targeted investigators, that targeted first responders. They don't do those training. At the end of it, when the persons left, I continue it. Paul Williams continue it, but they give him basket to fetch water, and the squatter, the extended squatter, scrap all those programs. We had we had manual for training, manual for trainers. We have PowerPoint presentations, and they don't do those things. The government spend millions and millions and millions of dollars to do training. The concept was, or the idea was, at when those priests were gone, that we continue the training program. There's a word that isn't in the police vocabulary: sustainability. There's no sustainability in the training, so you're not training detectives. We had excellent program: crime scene management, effective investigation, interrogation of suspect, interviewing witnesses, and a whole load of proper training programs. Instead of we sending people to the United States for training, we brought United States to Guyana, and those training programs were done. 29 training programs. I was ahead in Guyana for it. The the training, millions and millions of dollars were spent. Maybe Woodlands eating up those training modules that we have there. There is no real detectives. There is none real detective officer in the division in the true sense of it. Therefore, we can't really properly solve crime. I had incidents in Bobby's. Remember Chapman, you find a headless body on the road, and he was able to solve it, go to the high court and get conviction. A lot of things where they start from scratch and they have conviction in high court. But now all they're doing is jumping about the place and say they're doing detective work. No, 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 no.
Yeah, there's one guy I hear about over the years. I can't call his name. I don't even remember his name. Who they say is a good police. Think he was responsible or a part of this cop that they found after years on the highway, buried somewhere in the highway. They had to send for the policeman who they say the Muslim couple killed. And up to now, you hear nothing further about that matter. But I suspect you have one of them, but again, you got to expose them to the training to sharpen their skills and all of that. And I was corrected by someone a while ago um, who said that we should no longer say that the extended squatter is sitting on the commissioner's chair. We should say he's sitting on Santa's lap. Because they saw some photograph with the extended squatter sitting on Santa's lap. That is what they are saying. So they're saying that one of the students here say we should no longer talk about the man sitting in the commissioner's chair. He has graduated from that. He now sits on Santa's lap. And somebody mentioned to her that we have a forensic lab. Yeah, we have a forensic lab. What we mentioned last week, where we have a rank from the Guyana Police Force, was sent to study forensic science in Russia. She's a female. She spent 5 years and graduated not so long ago, I understand, with distinction in forensic science. She's back and she's not in that field. She's put someplace else. So what you expect? She's put someplace else. And CC, let me close by saying again, we have a week now. This Argyle meeting between the president of Guyana and the president of Venezuela. I see that the propagandists, they're writing, and this was a breakthrough in diplomacy and all kind of thing they're writing in the newspaper. But the president who participated in this talk is back tomorrow. Gonna be a week. The thing was last week, Thursday. The man has not seen it fit to address the nation or to tell us what really transpired. They're saying that this thing was successful, a diplomatic coup. Now, if it was, let the president face the nation and tell the nation how you define this success. Because as far as I'm aware, the threats that were made by Venezuela are still very much there. The threat to annex Essequibo, the threat to redraw Venezuela map to make sure that Essequibo is included in part of Venezuela map, the threat to pass law to expel the people exploring ExxonMobil and all of those persons, the direction to the national gas companies that they should issue license for people to do exploration in Essequibo. All of those things, as far as I'm aware, are still there. So I want to know what, again, I ask the question, what did we gain from the participation in this meeting? And I believe it is incumbent on the president to face the nation and to tell us what went on and how we should feel following this. If you're telling me that we get a breath of relief and all of that from this meeting, this, as I said, the writers write, not for them, Kit Nascimento, I saw write something, Clement Roy, and many other people writing in the newspaper, and they are saying that this meeting was such a great diplomatic success. All I'm saying, that if it was a diplomatic success, don't let people write in the papers to tell us that. The president should face the nation and tell us what transpired and why we should view this as a diplomatic success. That is my thing on it. That is my thing. So, Cece, let me hear your views before we close on this meeting in St. Vincent that we're talking about.
I said several episodes ago that the president has got to address the nation on this Venezuelan situation. And here it is. He's gone to the islands, signed documents, and has not issued a word to the Guyanese public. He has not addressed the nation. If you say success, I don't know how they're measuring success. But you must come and tell us why it was successful. They're talking about peace. For me, it's not a peace. It is an uneasy calm because all the pronouncements by the Venezuelan presidents are there, annexing Essequibo, giving citizenship and ID card to all persons living in Essequibo, ExxonMobil get 3 months before they got to go along the way. Anybody in our rivers in Essequibo who doing mining has got to get permission from Venezuela. All those things are there. You appointed a major general with absolute power to oversee Essequibo. All those things are there. He has not recanted. He has not backtracked on anything. And we get and sign an agreement with him. No, 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 no way. So it is it is important. It is that the president must address the nation. Let us know where we are. We're in an uneasy calm. There's no what we call peace. There's uneasy calm. And the president must be able if to tell us what are the success, what he calls success. He must address us because the Venezuelan president has not backtracked on anything that he has implemented so far.
Yes, my friend, I fully agree. There's nothing. All those threats are still there. And therefore, I don't know how you're going to call this meeting a success. Folks, we are out of time. I see people want us to comment on the helicopter crash and all of that. But the next time, because we are out of time now. And I just want to close by again imploring all of us to be safe. Christmas is a few days away. I wish you all a Merry Christmas. We're going to meet again here on the 27th. That's next Wednesday. And as I indicated, you're going to be notified of the time. And I again encourage you to subscribe to the YouTube channel, Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Like the page by the same name. So when we post the time that we are going to go live, you will get the notification. Because I can tell you now, it is not going to be the regular time, 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, because we have a court date. We have to be in court at 11:30 that morning, and we're not going to be able to finish and to come to the live at 12 o'clock. So please subscribe, follow to get the notification. Again, Merry Christmas to one and all. Eat, drink, and be merry. Do whatever you have to do in moderation. Do, but don't overdo. I want when we get here on Wednesday, whatever time it is, I don't want to hear anybody get in an accident. The biggest problem you must have is little bellyache. You eat too much of pepper pot, you drink too much ginger beer, and I want to hear you get the runnings. That's all I want to hear. I don't want to hear anything about any fire. I don't want to hear anything about any fatal accident. I don't want to hear anything about any murder or any fight. Please, folks, please be safe. Be safe. Take care of yourself. Take care of your family. If you have children, make sure that you enjoy the Christmas holiday. I will enjoy the Christmas holiday. Christmas is my favorite holiday. And I'm going to make sure that I have everything to drink and to eat. And on Christmas Day, I'm going to put on my apron. Yeah, I'm going to put on my apron and I'm do my catering. And I am weak down the leg side. So I understand it. I am weak down the leg side, but I am a fairly good cook. And I have always done the apron and do what I got to do on Christmas Day to prepare Christmas lunch or dinner, whatever it is. And I look forward to that. So yes, folks, yes, again, please be safe. Please be safe. Do everything to make sure that you don't get involved in any untoward situation. If you're driving, be extremely careful because remember, you can be 100% correct, but you have to cater for the idiot out there. So please, if you have to go someplace, leave in sufficient time. Please, I implore you, I beg you. Again, I say I don't want to come on Wednesday when we meet to hear that somebody get injured, somebody get killed, somebody else on fire. So until next Wednesday, God willing, we will reach again for another program of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Until then, bye.